when you were describing the experiences, okay, there's this awakening, and then it's okay, I want to know more. Everybody needs to know this. As I think of you, I'm just thinking of my own entryway into that and coming into some of that knowledge. And along with that, for me, there was also this, I think you described it too, this anger, right? There was also this anger, right? There was a time and place where I just wasn't having any of it. Like I was so fed up.
No,
I was so fed up. It's
that's
no,
what
this
I
is a lie. I was all these quotes from pulling these quotes from Lincoln and President Johnson and all these folks, Thomas Jefferson, y'all favorites, y'all heroes were not the people y'all thought they were. And so to
Mhm.
the point now where I will go back on these college reunions and stuff, and I'll run into people, old classmates, and they were like, they say stuff like, "Rolando, oh, I remember when you told that one student, like you just let them know in class, like you just shut it down." All these experiences, I'm like, and some of them I don't even remember, but I'm like, wow, y'all remember? Like there was a point in time that there was the anger that came with that awakening and awareness, and I was all about it. I was all about it. I wasn't every conversation, I was there. And so when you talked about also having the experience of working, being on college campuses and seeing the young activists and seeing where they are in their development, is yeah, I'm remembering those days. And I'm remembering seeing that too. I remember for me the James Baldwin quote, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in the state of rage all the time, and later on in the quote was like, the work is to channel that rage in a way that it doesn't consume us. For me, that was
Mhm.
education. And I liked how you said, okay, you see, you get to this kind of happy medium of like, all right, here's what I can control. And I just felt like you described that your process, and I think you described like the overall it just really, it was very vivid, took me back to my own experiences as well. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
folks who are out there listening are traveling along with us as we're sharing. But yeah, there was that
Mhm.
period too where it was like,
Only somebody let
every
somebody say something, just a
yes,
little something. You'll be like, "Hold up. Do you know if I tell you something, okay? Insert X, Y, and Z quote here." Or and and you're like, "Dude, just," and it's even just like learning the delivery because these things still happen, right? As
yeah,
someone who
yeah,
works
it's
in
still
justice,
true, but yeah,
true, but you're like, now I don't know. There's the anger definitely still exists. I would agree. But I am just more maybe nuanced.
yeah,
There was this sort of anger of, and I could see like harshness. Like I recall sometimes being harsh about how the delivery of it was. And the sort of reflection that I have now is that although the person, one, likely probably wasn't intentionally causing harm somehow,
hmm,
and two, was not, that anger was not necessarily towards them. That it was just like a blanketed sort of anger of, this is the system that now that I'm awake to this system that exists, that is working all the time, that I didn't know, that I fed into in
hmm,
some ways. I am angry largely, and you just happen to,
yep.
you're gonna deal with the consequences.
You're right in front of me. Hey, I'm angry right
Hmm.
now, and you're in front of me. Hey, you're gonna hear what I gotta say. So for you, what was it that kind of helped? These are the things that I can control, things that kind of open up your scope a little bit. Like for me, one of the things I'll say, like my undergrad was primarily getting grounded in the ways I was lied to in terms of my racial identity, some gender identity things, and a little bit of ability, I'll say as well. In those latter two areas, the messages around male privilege and able-bodiedness. But for me, it was going to grad school, learning more about actually intergroup dialogue facilitation, learning, getting deeper into intersectionality, being in dialogues with people, and sometimes saying things, just my own lived experience, and somebody else like that same anger that I would have at another person for not understanding about something about my racial identity and lived experience. Somebody else would recognize, hey, but something that I had just said spoke to my lack of awareness around male privilege or gender identity, heterosexual privilege. And so having those experiences and oh, for me, it was humbling. It opened up my awareness of, yeah, this rage is legitimate. And also, oh, wait a minute, there are some things that I need to know too. So I want to say it mellowed me out a little bit. I'm a much, like you said, the anger is still there, but it mellowed me out a little bit where I, I think you even mentioned empathy, where I have a little bit more I'm
Mhm.
able to see myself as an oppressor as well, and so trying to undo some of that. So, what were some of the things that helped you to get to that as you were describing it, like that happy medium? This is what I can control. That kind of opened it up. I also remember hearing you saying, "None of us got this education." Like coming to that, so entering into it from that place and
Mhm.
recognizing the larger influences that led to what you were experiencing.